Hello everyone, I finally finished the Night Angel Trilogy, and so I just want to share with you guys what I have read. And here's the first book, which is The Way of Shadows, the second book, which is Shadow's Edge, and the third book, which is Beyond the Shadows. Whew. Anyways, I will tell you the main character's story. I can't really get into like the plot or whatever because it like kind of changes a lot and it's big. So we start off with this boy. His name is Azoth, and he lives in the Warrens, which is a terrible place for like a child to live. Nobody has pity, everyone's poor. Everyone's just trying to like fend for themselves. So Azoth is a subject to this very cruel, very mean older boy who just collects money for them for protection, basically. And due to a series of events, Azoth gets on the bad side of this boy, and he wants to apprentice with Durzo Blind, because Azoth is very scared, and he doesn't want to be scared anymore. And Azoth is the most feared man in all the land. He's the best killer, he's the wet boy, and that is more than assassin. They are pretty much like talented assassins, and talented, they mean like magic. Like they have magic, abilities. And eventually Durzo Blind takes Azoth as an apprentice, but in order to be Durzo's apprentice, he needs to get rid of his old identity, which is Azoth, and become Kyler Stern. So now he is Kyler Stern, and I will refer to him as so. That is basically Azoth's story. Durzo Blind turns out to be more than what he seems, and due to these two artifacts, he is a lot more powerful than your average man. And these two artifacts like choose Kyler instead of Durzo and pretty much abandon Durzo. So Kyler has to go through this new responsibility of being this harbinger of justice, and all this stuff. He has to adapt to his new talents. He has to adapt to this new magic. All this new, like I said, responsibilities. And so that was Azoth's story. This trilogy snowballs into a much bigger, plot, like step by step. It gets bigger story, bigger problems. What I liked about this is the story gets really huge, but it never gets out of Brent Weeks' hands. And I've read too many books where something big is thrown in and the writer can't even handle it. And so the writer throws in something random and horrible BS to fix everything. Brent Weeks doesn't do that. He pretty much had all this figured out before he wrote it. Like, I don't know why other writers don't do this. Everything connects, everything has a reason, a purpose. No matter how big the story gets, there's a reason to why it got there, and there's no BS random stuff that you have to like go through to understand this. It's pretty basic. It's not like basic in a bad way. It's like, he makes it easy for you to understand why the plot got so big. Everything connects beautifully. Like I said, everything has a reason. Every character, person, small to big, has a reason. A lot of history was thrown in, economics, politics, just in this land, not in ours. And it all connects to the story, romance, battles, drama, all of it connects, all of it makes sense, and all of it adds to the plot. And it does not overwhelm the main story plot or the main line. It just adds to it. It's pretty great. I was very impressed by the way Brent Weeks wrote this book. He has his characters that are not necessarily honorable. Yes, there are some honorable characters, but it's not the basic good versus evil. It's not as complex as George R.R. Martin, but it's not, that lame good versus evil, you're either good or bad sort of a thing. Another thing I liked about Brent Weeks is each character has to make decisions. A lot of the problems are like decision based, and so the characters have to contemplate like what is better for me, what is better for others. You actually get to see them like think these things through. They have to make decisions based on their environment, how they, their sense of honor, their characteristics, the people they love. They have to take so much into consideration. And another thing I liked is anything they choose has consequences. Whether it's good or bad, it has consequences. And they have to choose to be selfish and take the path that will bring them up and still has consequences, or they could benefit everybody and it has consequences as well. So it's really interesting to see why they choose the things they choose, and what the consequences are and how they live with them. Weeks also added this weird sense of humor that I wasn't expecting, that most authors can't get away with, and I'll give you an example right now. Kyler was basically, fighting against one of the main enemies, and the enemy basically, and I'm paraphrasing, says, I am your father. And Kyler's like, what the heck? Like, he's like, one of these Warren kids. He doesn't know who his father was, so he's just like, what? And then, the person he's fighting against is basically like, oh, I'm just kidding. And it was pretty hilarious, and but it didn't kill the plot, and it wasn't bad, and it didn't make me not like the books. It wasn't stupid. It was really funny, and I'm surprised he got away with that. And there's a couple other things in there that are really funny that he does that I've never really seen before in a book. The only thing that I can tell you that sucked was the ending, because a lot of the things that I told you that I liked about the books changed, and the ending itself was pretty just bad. I mean, like the basic, climax ending. I was like about here when I still wasn't getting a solution to the problem. So I was freaking out. I was like, okay, I don't have very many pages left. When is this thing going to get solved? And I could tell right then that it wasn't going to be a good ending, and I was right. The ending was not only very quick, it was cheesy. The basic, solution was, and here comes a spoiler, was love conquers powerful magic. And Durzo Blint was very realistic to a certain extent, and I was expecting a logical, tactical solution, and it was just basically love conquers powerful magic type of thing, like a fairy tale for like teenage girls type of solution. I was terribly disappointed because I did not get that type of appeal from his other books, and they just throw like some ditzy fairy tale type of thing at the end solution. Ugh, it was horrible. Yes. And another thing I noticed that I didn't like towards the end was there was pointless gory scenes where Kyler overkilled a couple of foes, like, gruesomely, and what the heck. I'm just like, why are you overkilling this character? And towards the end, a lot of the characters were, how I told you that I liked how they contemplated all of their decisions before actually making them. Towards the end, they weren't doing that. They were just making rash, stupid decisions on the spur of the moment, not contemplating their, consequences at all, just making decisions selfishly, not selfishly, and it's just horrible. It was horrible because I liked seeing that. I liked seeing why they were making their decisions and the good and bad of both decisions that they could have made. And they weren't doing that. They were just being selfish and saying, hey, I don't want you to do this because of me. It was horrible. Like, I don't know what happened to the end. But all in all, it was a great story. I actually liked it a lot. Brent Weeks is really interesting. So if you're looking for very interesting writing style, very, makes sense, you're not left with questions or curiosities, everything's explained, and if that's the kind of book you're looking for, I would definitely suggest these books to you. But if you're the type of person where ending is everything, the ending has to be good, then no, I'm sorry, this probably isn't the book for you, but you might want to check it out. Give it a try anyways. Please give this a 8 out of 10 because the ending was so bad. It probably would have been a 9 out of 10. So please, if you read these books, inform me what you thought about them. Tell me anything, what you liked, what you disliked. If you haven't read these books, check them out. I have a formspring that you could ask me questions that you want me to ask in a separate video, want me to answer in a separate video, question and answer video, but I also have a Facebook page if you want to interact with me on a more personal level. Thank you for your time. That was my book review on Brent Weeks, the Night Angel Trilogy, and hope you enjoyed.